All right, welcome to episode 133. I believe 133 of my FX Buddies, the podcast. And this will cover news from November 16th and 17th, which is this weekend. All right, so this is my FX Buddies, the podcast. And I say podcast because there's other mediums. There's audio, video, there's transcript, and I'll tell you how to find all of that if you want to. So the transcript is RSSR, S as in Robert. Oh my gosh. R as in Robert, S as in Sam, S as in Sam.com. My FX buddies there. Um, Rumble has video. My FX buddies. And hey, subscribers at Rumble, thank you. And the blog, myfxbuddies.blogspot.com. And let's see, YouTube, of course. What else? Spotify.com has audio and video, and Apple Podcasts, and yeah, so anywhere, just put my FX Buddies in your search bar, and wherever I'm listed will come up. All right, so we're going to get into this. Um, so that's right, I have to use my finger. Okay, so look at that. Delete zeros and evaluate the dinar. So, this is purely citizen education, nothing we haven't heard before, but I just think what timing to put this out, right? So that guy, here's his name, Ali something. I hear voices outside. Oh my gosh, I hope they're not going to start arguing. Anyway, so delete zeros and evaluate the dinar. So I'm going to mostly cover this article and then shoot through the rest. And that's why I always say you should visit the blog, because the whole article is there, even a link to the original article. But I only point out what I think is important of that article. You may read it and find something else. So, also, this article here, delete zeros and evaluate the dinar, may be an article you want to share with your people. Yeah. So, and also, wherever you are enjoying this content, look for the word open, more, info, intro, description, something like that. If you click on that, there will be a link to the blog, because I know sometimes I'm hard to understand. All right, so let's get into it. So he says, in a newspaper column a while ago, we explained the concept of deleting zeros. And today we are talking about the concept of currency revaluation, which means a calculated upward adjustment of a country's official exchange rate relative to a chosen baseline, which can include wage rates, the price of gold, or a specific foreign currency. And revelation is the opposite. Excuse me. Never mind, I was going to say something. Revaluation is the opposite of devaluation. In a fixed exchange rate system, the system the system followed by Iraq, only a decision from the state, which they're calling the central bank, can change the official value of the currency. And developing economies are likely to use a fixed exchange rate system. Turn down the news there. To limit speculation and provide a stable monetary system in the country. In a flexible exchange rate system, revaluation occurs on a regular basis, as evidenced by noticeable fluctuations in the foreign exchange market and the associated exchange rates. Then they give an example of when Nixon took the U.S. off the gold backed, right? And they have something here about China. The decision to revalue a domestic currency. Did I say devalue? Jeez Louise. The decision to revalue a domestic currency affects the economy as a whole, as it affects both the currency being examined and the valuation of assets held by foreign companies in that particular currency. Since revaluation has the potential to change the exchange rate between two countries and their currencies, the book values of assets held abroad may have to be adjusted to reflect the effect of the change in the exchange rate. So now do you see why all the countries have to be involved? It's not, we think it's just so easy. Why don't they just do it? Why don't they just flip the switch? Anyway, for example, suppose a foreign government has set 10 units of its currency to equal $1. That's my phone. To revalue its currency, the government might change the rate to 5 units per dollar, making its currency twice as expensive when valued in US dollars as it was before. And if you notice, like last week, our dollar index was at 107. Like I think it even got above 107. And other countries that are pegged to the dollar, their money was going down, but it cost the value, right? So it was costing them. They had to use more of their money to make up what it was before to pay the same bills, buy the same products, right? All right. So if the above-mentioned currency revaluation occurs, any assets held by a U.S. corporation in the foreign economy must be revalued. If the value of the asset held in a foreign currency was previously valued at $100,000 based on the old exchange rate, the revaluation requires a change of $200,000. This change reflects the new value of the foreign asset in the local currency by adjusting the revaluation of the relevant currency. Then they give another example there. So yeah. So you might want to if I had access to a printer, I would actually print that out. I would print that article out and break it down further, read it more. Um, yeah, so I'm happy to see that. All right, so now these articles we're going to quickly go over are from yesterday. So the government, um, Mohammed Saleh, he came out, and this was an article they kind of wanted the citizens to see. It was in a couple of different places. So Mohammed Saleh, government able to increase spending without inflation or fiscal deficit. So I'm wondering, you can read it there, what he says, blah, 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 right? Are they going to make a big change? There's some little kids out there. Of course. Sorry about that. So if we're going to see a big change on the 2025 amount, I don't know. But it's interesting that they're talking about this, right? All right. Economist Mashadani, I'm just going to say his last name, right? Parallel market remains pivotal to financing Iraq's trade with Iran and Syria. So here again, they've been talking about a lot of the merchants and economists have been saying we could help decrease the parallel dollar market if we would specifically have a platform for trading with Russia, Syria, Iran, right? And they still haven't done it. And some of them have gotten really detailed in their explanations of, why it would be a benefit, but it still hasn't happened yet. All right, exchange rates will rise further. Warning of an imminent economic crisis due to the coldness of the central bank. So this guy, they usually put his picture, but for some reason they didn't. But Ziad Hashimi warned of serious economic repercussions as the deadline to stop the dollar platform approaches in 6 weeks. That means that's because at the end of the year, what? They're supposed to stop using the auctions. So we'll see. But I think it's more than 6 weeks, right? Maybe 7, but whatever. So, noting that the Central Bank of Iraq is still dealing with the crisis coldly, which could lead to higher exchange rates and a shortage of imported materials. So, I'm thinking because maybe he wants more details of, okay, you're telling us you're going to cut this auction off, but you're not really giving us details of what's going to replace it, right? And maybe there's a reason why they're not giving all the details. So he also talks about the trade. And here, the central bank seems to be betting on a smooth transition process without problems. You're right. But it considered this bet unrealistic in light of the absence of a clear plan to manage the transitional phase. So see, that's why I said it seems he wants more details, but he's not going to get them. Hashimi concluded his warnings by saying the central bank has only 6 weeks to act and manage this crisis. Otherwise, the delay will lead to disastrous results that will cast a shadow over the Iraqi economy by the end of this year. So see, they're expecting some big things. Okay, here, for the first time in Iraq, efforts to establish an investment association to attract capital from 10 countries. So you can read that. Arakchi, and that name. Anyway, I'm thinking he's Iranian. Let's see. On negotiations with America. We are ready, and the diplomatic window is open. Yes, see, he's the Iranian foreign minister. So he was on TV and they were talking to him. And he's saying, we're ready for negotiations and the windows of diplomacy are open. Sorry, these people are going up and down. All right, so if you want to read about that, you can. Of course, here we will regulate our behavior based on American policies, and the people who join the new American government are extremists and are moving in the direction of the Zionist entity. And we know who the Zionist entity is, right? Ice Cream Land. Okay, so then he goes on and he has some other choice words. So interesting article to read. Sadani approves 35 new service projects and begins implementing them within 10 days. So you can read that. Now this, I just put this here because people often wonder, well, what's Sadar doing? So it says the Sadarists hold unannounced meetings in preparation for next political phase. And this could be an old picture. It could be a current picture because that's the same place where he meets with those people. So it's always the same carpet. He pretty much, when he's out in public, wears the same clothing, right? His head wrap is always the same. His people, his followers that meet with him, they sit there, they dress there, right? So I can't really tell if that's a picture as of yesterday or one from the past. It says informed sources within the political body revealed today, which was yesterday, the existence of unannounced meetings of officials in the body in order to arrange the papers of the next political stage. So I always wait. It's good to wait when there's articles out about Sadar. It's good to wait a few hours Because if they're not true or he's not liking what's being said, either he'll put out a response on Twitter and say, I didn't say that, don't believe that, or he has a speaker for him. That guy will come out. This has been 24 hours and they haven't said anything. No, this isn't true, whatever. So maybe next go around, Sadar might throw his hat in or he might disrupt the upcoming elections. I don't know. Hopefully we won't be here. But yeah, that was pretty much in the news a lot. All right. So, and I know there's people who like to read about Sadar and what he's doing. So I posted that. Oh, I could take that out. But anyway, so here's some articles about the T-Man. Him, and it says Iraq, a subsidiary or the focus of major deals, money, right? So some of you will want to read this, some of you won't, and that's fine. You know, that's what makes it wonderful that we are all different. Anyway, so the T-Man appears poised to become an important axis in determining the future of Iraq, especially with the escalation of tensions between Iran and the U.S. Are there escalations? I don't know. But actually, this came out. No, I think it came out after the Elon Musk and the Iranian ambassador had a more than an hour-long meeting. I don't know, but I'm not going to go too deep into this. But you might want to read this. Um, let's see. Is there anything bolded here? Um, this particular article, they kind of say he's not a war person. He's more of a deal maker. So he may make a deal between Washington and Tehran, but if he does, will it be bad for Iran, right? So, and then it even says, oh, here, I'll read this. Another Iraqi activist tweeted, the biggest fear is that the T-Man is a deal maker. Iraq could become part of a grand deal between Washington and Tehran without taking into account the situation of the Iraqi people who are suffering from ongoing crises. So then here's this one. The title's a bit deceiving. It mentions the T-Man, so that's why it's there. But here's the title: Government Advisor, not Muhammad Saleh, because this isn't a monetary. This is like a military thing. Strategic agreement with America prevents any Zionist aggression on Iraq's sovereignty. So this article is saying because of that strategic agreement that we have, these areas around Iraq are not going to strike Iraq. And then here they talk about the phone call between Sadani and the T-Man, and it says it actually happened. I think that's funny. Was there any doubt? Apparently there was, because he said it actually happened. But Sadani indicated in the call the necessity for the relationship to go beyond the security file between Iraq and America, and the T-Man expressed his satisfaction and understanding, and the position is positive, according to what was stated in the cabinet statement, and we expect the relationship to develop positively. So I like that. I like that at least they're saying they're going to be positive, right? And he's going to stick to what's already there. And so here's a little bit more, noting that Iraq looks forward to this new phase being the beginning of deepening cooperation between the two countries in various fields, which contributes to achieving sustainable development and benefits the two friendly peoples. So, see, Sudani is adamant about partnership, cooperation, right? Whereas before it wasn't, it was like we just told them and they did. It was more like instruct and you do what we say. Sudani's like, that's over. We're partners and we will cooperate. Okay, so now we're on today's news. What's this? In light of economic changes. That's weird. It seems like a word is missing. It says strengthens the national economy. Parliament issues a call regarding the government program. Oh, yeah. So this call comes at a time when the government aims to advance the economy through multiple investments that contribute to improving the Iraqi economy and enhancing its stability. So here, Iraq is moving towards supporting strategic sectors. So yeah, so this is a good article. See, I have some bolded stuff here you might want to read. This was really a really big deal. Japan gave a loan to Iraq to develop the Basra refinery, and it's a big loan. Let's see. So there's two articles here, a short one and then a more lengthy one. Let's see. I guess the first one. Well, whatever. You could read that if you want to read that. Okay. Let's see, because look, we're at 21 minutes. So this was pretty good. Leah Locke reviews to the President of the Republic the central bank's plans to develop the banking sector. So I thought it was interesting. He specifically went to meet with the President, Rashid Abdul Latif Jamal. There's all his names there. So the President of Iraq stressed today, Sunday, the necessity of developing a future strategy for financial policy during his meeting with Governor of the CBI, and there's his name, Ali Alak. So why now? I just find this very interesting when there's another call to have him removed, right? Because he's over the he's over the retirement age and whatever else they want to drum up. So then here's a different, same article pretty much, but here's the title. The President of the Republic stresses the need to develop a future strategy for financial policy. So then after I read the second one, which pretty much says the same thing, maybe the president is being left out of the detailed plans also. And maybe he's like, hey, come tell me about your plans, because we keep telling the people you're about to have new money, you're about to have increased uh, purchasing power, but I don't see a plan here. So maybe, who knows what they talked about, but very interesting that he went there and then they spoke. And then to see the title article of the blog come out later, because that's actually dated tomorrow. The one about the delete the zeros, that's actually dated November 18th. Anyway, here's Maliki again. Maliki was very much in the news. One of his little cronies, even had the nerve to say no one has completed projects like Maliki. But yeah, so here's an article. He met with the US Ambassador, Alina Romanowski, so if you want to read that. But he's like telling the people they need to participate in the census. Um, we need to come up together as one Iraq, and it's like, ugh. Anyway, a 20. He met with the French embassy delegation. Listen to this. Halting external borrowing indicates an improvement in Iraq's financial policy. So they're still going to be friends. They're just like, oh, we don't need any more loans from you. We'll pay off what we have, and then you can invest. in us, right? And it brings about a qualitative shift in the financial and banking sector. So, um, the decline in foreign borrowing indicates an improvement in our financial policy, said Atwani, noting that the decline in foreign debts came after conducting a comprehensive review of the feasibility of loans as we stopped them and began to pay off the old ones. All right, so you might want to read that. That's good. Look at this. They're opening another office for the Unified National Card at the Iraqi Embassy in the Emiratis. So remember, they just did one. Where did they do that last one? I don't even remember. But so, matter of fact, you know what? It may have been this one that they were talking about it, but they actually did it today, November 17th. But also, they are so serious about this card. Someone lost their card and they put, hey, you, because the name is on the card, right? You need to call this phone number and you need to come pick up your card. And it even said where it was lost. So they're serious about that card. And see, that's what's going to happen. Okay, I'm just throwing this out there. I could see them. Oh, you keep losing your card. Here, we're going to chip you with all the information that's on the card. That way, it doesn't matter if you lose the card, right? All right, 30 U.S. companies visit Kurdistan region. New agreements signed to enhance trade and investment. So if you want to read that, it's a short article. So even though there's current economic challenges, the 30 businessmen went and agreed to enhance coordination and expand the scope of trade. Here's another short little article. Iraq and the World Bank discuss advisory project to support reforms. Again, that's another one that a few years ago I would have been like, oh, yes, they met with the World Bank. But you see, I'm like, oh, another meeting with the World Bank. Tomorrow, the Turkish trade minister visits Iraq, so we'll see what happens. Here, government reassurance about Iraq's 2025 budget and oil prices. So, this is another thing that they are complaining about. We still haven't seen the budget. We still haven't seen the schedules. Also, this is another person suggesting maybe we reevaluate oil at $70 per barrel. And it says that right now things are chaotic because of failure to implement agreements and the high cost of oil companies contracting with the region as a result of wrong policies in the previous stage, and a satisfactory solution was reached with the region. So there again, that's confirmation. Remember those meetings? They said the meetings that Sudani had with the Kurds were fruitful. They've determined $16 per barrel. And what was the other thing? They're going to make that third party person who will do like a in-between audit between the region and Baghdad, right? So things are moving along. Okay, and then here, these are some articles about the census. And now all of a sudden, there's all these, oh, the census is going to help our economy. So if you want to read those, you can. But it basically, here, I'll read this. The authorities responsible for preparing the budget must reread it for the future of oil prices and adopt an appropriate and realistic price that is consistent with the expectations of global oil market experts. Like there's such a thing. But anyway, when preparing the schedules for next year, 2025, as most indicators confirm a decrease in oil prices for security and economic reasons. So, see, there's talk about that, but then those two articles. One's a little shorter, one's a little lengthier. They are bringing in the census. Okay, so this is the last article. Here's another one. Parliamentary security. The next battle is economic, and Iraq's airspace is under American control. So, see, how can they be sovereign and we control their airspace? So, we might have to pray for this man's safety. He was interviewed on their TV on this right here, the Eighth program. That is a talk show that comes on regularly. So yeah, he put it out there, but he here he has his take on the T-Man is that the T-Man, is looking for the economy and is not a man of war, stressing the need to keep Iraq away from slipping into the current. I can't believe I said it. I said the three-letter word. Oh well, whatever. I'm getting comfortable. Okay. All right. But anyway, so that's the last article. So yeah, so it was a good article weekend. Um, as far as any celebrations, they did celebrate Baghdad Day, but it wasn't like a large celebration. So I don't know. So we'll see. We'll see what this week brings us. Thank you for your time. Everyone's time is valuable. And so that's why I try to cram in as much as I can. There was lots of kablooies over the weekend. If I post tomorrow, maybe I'll cover that. Even another Bala person was taken out. So yeah, but I like to just focus on the money, but just if I don't mention it, people may think there's nothing going on. Oh yeah, there's stuff going on. All right. So, thank you again. And as always, I will close with accumulate while we wait for the rate to appreciate. Don't miss any meals and pay all your bills. Um, if there's a like, subscribe, join, follow, whatever type button where you're listening, activate that because I don't update regularly. So when I do, if all things work as they're supposed to, you'll be notified. Hey, my FX buddies posted again. All right. Let's see what this week brings us. Enjoy the rest of your night, morning, noon, whatever time frame you're listening or watching. And until next time.